Hey guys, it's Protendo, and as strange as it feels to say this, Animal Crossing New Horizons is finally finished. I think a lot of us expected this game to last maybe a year or so longer, really pad it out with content and make its stream of updates last for a much larger portion of the Switch's life. But instead, after the stellar 2.0 update, Nintendo confirmed that New Horizons won't be receiving any more major updates, paid or otherwise. And while this might be a little disappointing, it's also kind of exciting. Because with New Horizons complete, we're once again in the situation we found ourselves in post New Leaf's Welcome Amiibo, looking to the future. Now, this might sound a little hypocritical, since in the past I've been pretty outspoken about how annoying and drawn out the wait for New Horizons was, but in retrospect, I'm actually kinda nostalgic for it. I mean, this may just be because I'm not the biggest New Horizons fan in the world, but for me, it was definitely a situation of the journey being better than the destination. Especially after New Horizons got officially announced. Those 9 months were pure speculative chaos, and I lived for it. And once people start to tire of New Horizons 2.0 update and Happy Home Paradise DLC, we'll all be asking the same questions. What's next? What does the future of Animal Crossing entail after the massive success that is New Horizons? And how soon could we see this next project? Well, let's take a look at the series past and New Horizons on its own to try and predict what we could see from Animal Crossing in the next few years and when we might see it. I'm sure a lot of you New Horizons newcomers have heard older players like myself complain about the wait between Animal Crossing New Leaf and New Horizons, and fear that we could see a similarly painful gap between New Horizons and Animal Crossing 6, but I can almost guarantee that won't be the case. The wait between the 3DS and Switch entries of Animal Crossing was an anomaly, as every game in the series aside from New Horizons released about 3 to 4 years after the previous title. And while this isn't confirmed, I feel like there's a very obvious culprit to blame for us having to wait 7 years for Animal Crossing: the Wii U. I love the Wii U, but it's no secret that the thing was a terrible failure for Nintendo. Selling only 13 million units, Nintendo wanted to jump ship as soon as possible and switch, see what I did there, to a new system in which they could have a fresh start and hopefully avoid all the mistakes they made in the Wii U era. As such, a lot of the games that were likely planned to release in the Wii U's lifespan were moved to the Switch, to ensure that it had a hot library right out the gate. And one of the games that has an overwhelming amount of evidence for being planned to release on the Wii U is none other than Animal Crossing New Horizons. Ever since the first game, a mainline Animal Crossing game has been released on every Nintendo platform, both home and handheld. From GameCube to DS to Wii to 3DS. Nintendo never missed an opportunity to grow this popular series into an even greater success. But the Wii U is the odd man out. New Leaf released in 2012 in Japan and 2013 to the rest of the world, meaning that if we follow the series pattern, a new game likely would have been planned for around 2015 or 2016. But at that point in time, Nintendo knew full well that the Wii U was making them next to nothing, and that the NX was going to have to be released soon. So, the Wii U's mainline Animal Crossing never came to be. And instead, this happened. As you can see, the journey from Animal Crossing New Leaf to Animal Crossing New Horizons was very complicated, more so than the wait between two funny animal games ever reasonably should be. But everything about New Horizons points towards the next mainline game not being nearly so far off. Firstly, the game's incredible success. Animal Crossing was already an extremely popular franchise prior to New Horizons' release. 35 million sales in a series with only 4 mainline games is an incredible achievement and made Animal Crossing one of Nintendo's most popular franchises. But New Horizons brought things to a whole new level. Because of the pandemic, the game has already matched the sales of every prior game in the franchise, reaching 35 million by itself. For reference, this makes New Horizons the 15th best-selling game in history, all in the span of a year and a half. Nintendo, more so than ever, is fully aware of the system-selling potential that the Animal Crossing series has, meaning that they'll want to get it out for their next console as soon as possible. Furthermore, the next game won't be nearly as hard to make. With the latest Animal Crossing entry, Nintendo had to jump from the 240p 3DS to the 1080p Switch, which was clearly a challenge for the developers who had never made a mainline game in HD. But New Horizons is running on a system that will be very close in power to the next system, meaning that a lot of things from this game can be carried over to the next, saving a lot of time, money, and effort. Which is also why I think the next Animal Crossing game will be much better than New Horizons, but that's a topic for a separate video. With everything laid out before us, I wouldn't be surprised to see the next mainline Animal Crossing game released in the first year or second year of the upcoming Nintendo system's life, meaning that we could get our hands on it in 2024 or 2025. But luckily for us, mainline games aren't the only thing this series is known for. Ever since Happy Home Designer released in 2015, Animal Crossing has become one of the many Nintendo franchises to receive spin-off games between mainline entries, and I firmly believe that we'll see one hit the Switch in the next couple of years. While, yes, we do have Happy Home Paradise essentially filling the role that a spin-off game would, it would make all the sense in the world for Nintendo to make a second Animal Crossing game on the Switch that we can fully purchase, considering the system's player base is approaching 40 million fans of the series. Plus, Happy Home Designer wasn't the only game we got in between New Leaf and New Horizons, as much as I like to pretend it is. There was also Pain. But the next Animal Crossing spin-off doesn't have to follow in the footsteps of Amiibo Festival in quality or even design. It could be anything. A puzzle game, a cooking game, an RPG? Sure, why not? Animal Crossing RPG, coming to Switches near you. We're currently in the last couple years of the Switch's life, as we can assume by Nintendo saying in 2020 that we were halfway through. And I can't see them not striking the iron while it's hot with Animal Crossing. I think its hypothetical spin-off is something that we could see relatively soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a late 2022 announcement followed by a 2023 release. And let's cross our fingers that the game allows us to play as Rossetti, since that would make it an easy 10 out of 10. But anyways guys, that's about it for this video. As always, I'd love to hear what you think. Will we see an Animal Crossing spin-off game on the Switch? And when do you think the next mainline game will be released? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to Protendo for more Animal Crossing content. I'll see you all later. Protendo, out.